Hi guys, and welcome back to Pamela's Tarot Tales. I am doing a VR tag to Brian Cormack Carr, hashtag Tarot, Tarot Tools Trio. And so this one is about the 3 tarot decks you would take with you, the 3 books, and the 3 spreads. So if you're going away for extended period of time, or things that you just, if you know you're going to be reading for other people, but you wouldn't have access to your full tarot tool chest, your tool library. So the first one is, we're going to talk about decks. So the 3 decks I would take, I have mixed feelings about this because the deck that I just don't think I would want to be without would be the La Corte de Tarocchi. And this deck, the reason I have mixed feelings about is because I would not want it to get damaged. So it's not likely a deck I would take unless I knew I was going to be safely rooted in a place. Just because it is a limited edition, it's an Il Menegalo, and the cardstock is more papery, very thick, awesome cardstock. But I love this deck, and I would definitely need a Pips deck. I would consider a different, more Marseille style deck, but if I'm going to be, if I had to choose, I would definitely choose this deck. But I do hesitate, or maybe I'd buy a second copy and have a travel version. I don't know. Anything's possible, but I love, love, love this deck. The reason I would choose this one is because it's so succinct. It reads so easily for me, and it's very clear and short and to the point, and not mean, not harsh, but very just clear, very succinct. I love this deck, and it's beautiful. And I love the size, even though it's super, super thick. It's a little bit hard to shuffle, but, you get used to it. So that is one. The next one I would probably take would be Cosmic Tarot. I adore this deck. And I would take this because I love, love, love the coloration of this deck. I find it reads really well for a multitude of things, but it does really go into spiritual aspects. It does really well for chakra readings, things that, there's just so much that comes through with this, and I could keep using this deck and not get bored with it and find more and more in each card every time. I just adore it. And it gives a little bit different system. It's got some Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's not fully Rider-Waite-Smith based. But it is illustrated pips. So it just reads so beautifully for me. I adore this deck. And so I'm happy to take it with me, and it would most likely be one I would take. I find it reads well for others. I find that it reads well for me, so it would definitely be up on my list. The next one, I'm torn between 2 decks for this, you guys, and the reason is because, there are so many great decks, but I would want to take one that would be good for reading for others, for clients, but also one that could do a whole array of types of readings, like relationship readings and life purpose readings, and just a variety of different things, and ones that maybe people would respond to if I'm reading in person for people. And that's, for me, I'm kind of torn because the Victorian Fairy is a great deck. It does venture from the Rider-Waite-Smith, but it is definitely a Rider-Waite-Smith system. But it has different titles and different names. They've renamed the suits. So I would, and I haven't used this deck enough, to be fully comfortable with it, but every time I read it, I find that it's super intuitive, really easy to read. It's very soothing, but yet truthful, and so it's a little bit softer in some ways. But there's a lot to look at, and so it would keep me engaged. It would keep me learning with this deck, but it would also be really good for others because it's just so beautiful. I'm torn between that one and I'm leaning towards this. So if you asked me today, that's what I would say. But I'm also torn with the Dame Darcy. Mine's been bordered in blue and edged before I got it. I got it secondhand. The reason I say this one is because it's also fun to look at. I think it reads well for others. It reads a variety of situations, and it's applicable to a multitude of things. It's a little bit more direct in some ways. Can be a little bit just for me. I find when I read for myself with it, it's rather brash, kind of harsh, and I don't particularly read for myself as much, but I do find that it is useful and I would use it for myself. But I do think that it's great for reading others, and it does give a variety. And it's pretty. So, alright. So I know that's kind of cheating, but whatever. Okay, so the 3 books I would take with me, the first one would be probably, well, these aren't really in any order, but Marseille Tarot Revealed by Yoav Bendov. Sorry if this is backwards. But I am learning Marseille, and I want to read more Marseille and more pip decks, and this seems like it would be, the language is easier than the Hodorowski's book. Maybe not as detailed, but if I'm packing something, I want to keep it fairly light, even though this is a heavy book. It's full color, but it's not super thick and chunky. But there's a lot of really good information and stuff that I could keep going on for quite a while. And going along with that, and I feel like it complements the Tarot on Earth. Oops, there's my notes. I typed everything up. I know I'm a little neurotic about that, but it's going to keep me in a place that is organized and easy to find later on, and I'm not always that way, and I want to be. So, this is Tarot on Earth by Tom Benjamin. It's a workbook, and it's working through to really work on the pips, to work on, you know, any Marseille style deck, but you could really use it for any deck, any Rider-Waite-Smith, any deck. And what I like about this book is that it puts it in a perspective, like it's relatable, but it's doing it in a way that gets you to do the work so that you learn it, and it comes into practice so that it makes sense to you, because it doesn't matter what he says or what anybody else says. It's taking all those sources from other sources and distilling it down, and then applying, you know, what makes sense to you, and then applying that to the numbers, applying it to the elements, applying that to the reading, how all that works together. And that makes sense to me. And so if I was going somewhere for an extended period of time, I would want to be able to work through this book, and then maybe even reference it again. I'm not sure, but I want to be able to work through it. So, and I don't have a lot of tarot books right now. It's definitely an area that I can add to in my repertoire. The third one is, actually the third one would be 21 Ways to Read Tarot by, I think it's Mary Kay Greer. And I say that one simply because I have it on my phone, and I started reading it. I haven't finished it. A lot of people suggest it. Seems like a great book to have all around. So, and since I have it on my phone, I don't have it in print. I don't really have any other tarot books in print other than the guidebooks, except for the Hoarderaski's book. So, you know, but that would be enough to keep me busy for quite a while. So if we're talking several months, it would keep me busy, even if we're talking, you know, even a year. So the spreads, here's the thing, guys. With spreads, I love spreads. There's so many fun, creative, awesome, informative spreads out there. And when I read for others, I don't typically use a spread. I read intuitively. I kind of pull out what I feel like. Sometimes it's a 3 card. Sometimes I, will ask a question. I'll feel led to pull 3, and then I'll feel led to ask another question and pull 2 more. Or, I'm really fluid and flexible with the way that I read. But I do like to have spreads, and I would like to have something in case that doesn't work for a situation. And I do use spreads for myself to get more information, to get more directed information for myself, because sometimes I can't remember or think of the questions I want to ask. And having a spread that has those layouts and seeing those things together works really well. So, the 3 spreads I would take. The first one I would probably take, and I drew this up, but you can check it out on our website. It's Doing the Thing by Shona Hill from Ace of Stars. You can check it out on her website at aceofstars.com. And it's a procrastination and resistance spread, and I find it would be super helpful, not only for me, but for others, because I know I'm full of resistance, and I'm full of procrastination, and so many other people are, and having a way to look at that is cohesive and direct, and a spread that I have used that I know works really well. It's a great spread. So the first card is, what am I trying to do? What am I afraid of? That's the second card. The third card is, how am I resisting? The fourth card is, what attitude will help me get started? The fifth card is, what first step can I take? And then the last card is, what do I have to look forward to? So, and that's the format. Such a great spread. A lot of information comes from that. The next spread is, I would find some sort of relationship spread that would kind of encompass an array of issues that pop up in relationships. Relationships seems to be something that people often want readings on, and I don't have a go-to spread for that, and so that's where I'm going to start searching and see what I can find. There is one that's kind of pulled my attention, but I'm not sure if that's the one I would take. It's called Mirrors of Consciousness, but I'm not sure about that. I do often use 3 card spreads, so I'd probably just bust out a 3 card spread and think of it as like mind, body, spirit, or past, present, future, or just kind of an open reading type spread. Like, okay, what's the story here? Where am I drawn to? I tend to do that more, where I just lay out cards and then I'm like, okay, I'm drawn to this card, and we'll kind of build off of that, and looking at it as a whole. So I guess I could really search for more information with those, but right now that's what I'm sticking with, those 3. So my wild card would be, I'm gonna kind of cheat on this too. So the thing that I always do, and I always have with me, that is not anything that I would have to pack or take, would be meditation. I find that it's incredibly important for me, for my well-being, for my mental, my emotional, my physical, my spiritual health. So meditation. And that's the thing that I think is most important for me. But I also would like to take, as a wild card, something that, if I'm actually packing a tangible object, it would be this Spirit Animals, Pocket Guide to Spirit Animals by Dr. Stephen Farmer. This is the Animal Totems, Understanding Messages from Your Animal Spirit Guides. I like to look up animals anytime I see them. They cross my paths quite often, and they hold such meaning. And I find a lot of messages in there, and a lot of things that I really enjoy paying attention to. And this is such a great, quick snippet book that gives some really good information. And it has a pretty good selection. I mean, it has a lot of animals in there. It's small and compact. And then I always have some sort of either, sketchbook or journal of some sort. So again, I know that's totally cheating. I'm okay with it. Sorry, Brian. Not sorry. And I'm glad you guys were here with me through this. This was Pamela's Tarot Tales, and I hope you have a great day. Talk to you soon.